हाँ. Hmm? अब ठीक है. अब काम करने दो. मैं भी उस पर ज्वाइन हो जाऊँ ना, गूगल मीट. हम्म? शुरू होगा. अच्छा. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Okay, it's not real-time audio. I'm streaming, so there's some delay. Uh, Today we are going to start our practical session, and for that, I have already mailed you your username and passwords. These are the same that were used for logging into ATAL. Good evening, everyone. Portal and okay, it's not real time audio. Please keep them ready with you. And personally, I think it would be more suitable if we are able to communicate using text because what kind of commands I want you to run, it is better if I give it you in text form so that you can copy it and execute them. So the first exercise that we are going to do today is login into a remote computer using shell. And for that, I'm sharing a link on the FDP portal that you can access and download a software called as MOBA Xterm. This will run on Windows. In case someone is having an operating system other than Windows, like is using Linux or Macintosh, they may follow other instructions. If someone is there like that, then he may message me in this ATAL FDP portal. I'm in there. So, software called as MOBA Xterm. Most of the exercises that I would be doing here are with an assumption that most of you are using Windows. Though I myself is running Linux, so at times there may be some mismatch in the instructions, and let me pause for a while, rethink, and then I will come back to you. So it has been a while since I ran Windows, so okay. Windows. Though I myself is running Linux, so at times there may be some mismatch in the instructions. So now I'm sharing the link of MOBA Xterm. Rethink, and then I will come back to you. So it has been a while since I ran Windows, so okay. Windows. Though I myself is running Linux, so it's now available in the chat room. It has been messaged by Dr. Raj Shree, and I expect that all of you will download it and install it. And once you have done that, please let me know so that I can proceed further. Today's lecture was, I will chalk out the plan, what we are trying to do here. We are trying to make you aware of the system where we can remotely access other systems. And particularly in case of IoT, using these systems, you can conduct remote laboratories. So the first thing is to simply access a remote server. Then after, we will attach different hardwares to that remote server, and your students would be able to program those hardwares using this remote server. So in a way, you will be setting up a virtual laboratory where students would be accessing real hardware using internet. And yes, there are, I mean, it's not a very foolproof system. There may be some difficulties, like who would set up the circuit. So if you have some attendant in the laboratory, because I mean, teachers can go to lab now, so they can set up the circuit connected with the hardware and sorry, this machine, and the students can remotely log into it and get the very familiar programming environment in which they can work. So the overall plan is that, but if we take that entire approach in one session, it would be too difficult for many of us. So what we are doing today is just trying to access remote machine, remote server using various well-established methods, which are almost fail-proof. So we are using SSH for that. So today we are restricting our exercise to that. We will do SSH, log into the server, and then try out different commands which are very useful and which some of might have lost touch of, because earlier days we used these pipe operators, redirection operators, and all those Unix craft things. So those are very necessary in terms of this hardware programming. So in a way, we will refresh ourselves with that. So please we will do SSH. Follow me and let me know at what stage you are. I will proceed very slowly so that everyone can keep pace with it. So the first thing is, please download the MOBA term. I have shared the link and fetch your earlier mail where login and user ID and password was provided for logging into this FDP portal. And once you have these two things ready, that means MOBA term and your login ID and password, please let me know in this chat window that you are done. Just simply write done. So once a certain threshold is achieved, I mean 10, 15 people, 30 people have done that, then I will proceed towards the next step. Fetch your earlier mail where login and user ID and password was provided for logging into this FDP portal. Meanwhile, if you have any queries, you can put it in the chat box. Or I think yes, you can even write in this Google Meet window that you are done. Just simply write done. So once a certain threshold is achieved, I mean 10, 15 people, 30 people have done that, then I will proceed towards the next step. So I have shared that link to download MOBA extern, and then keep your username and password ready. Or and once you have done that, you can log into the Google Meet window, remote server, using the command format that I am telling you now. So I have shared that link. So to download MOBA extern, and then if you have MOBA extern ready with you, once you have done that, you can log into the Google Meet window, remote server, using the on the top left corner there's an icon called session. You can click on it, and then again on the top left corner there's something called SSH, that is secure shell. So click on it, and in this remote host, let me see it on. If you have MOBA extern ready with you, is everyone following me? Please message me so that I can know whether, if I put on the headphone, things are echoing because I'm streaming, and right there's an icon called session. You can click on it, and then again on the top left corner there's something called SSH, that is secure shell. So click on it, and in this remote host, let me see it on. If you have MOBA extern ready with you, is everyone following me? Please message me so that I can know whether, if I put on the headphone, things are echoing because I'm streaming, and right there's an icon called session. You can click on it, and then echo or echo? Again on the top left corner there's something called SSH, that is secure shell. Click on it, and in this remote host. So in this remote host, you should first write your username, like mine is Ravi, and then put the @ symbol, and then your remote machine name or the server name, and that is in this case atal.academy. Okay, please don't touch on this specify username and the related text box or scroll box, and just press enter, and you will be presented with a shell like this one. So in this remote host, you should first write your username like once you reach this shell, and then put it in your symbol and password, your remote machine name or the server name, and that is in this case put in your password into it, and then okay, please don't you would be logged into the remote machine name and the related it's as simple as that, or scroll box, nothing complicated. Just press enter and you will be presented with a shell like this one. So in this remote host, you should first write your username like once you reach this shell, and then put it in your symbol and password, your remote machine name or the server name, and that is in this case put in your password into it, and then okay, please don't okay, be logged into the Mr. Vivek. So on the MobaX term, as simple as that, on the top right corner you will see session. Once you click on session, another window will appear where again on the left corner, top left corner, there would be SSH. Click on that. Once you reach this shell, like here, and in the remote host area, you have to write in your username @atal.academy. Just that much. Okay. In the remote host area, you have to write your username on the top right corner. You will see atal.academy. On session, another window will appear where again on the left corner, top left corner, there would be SSH. Click on that. Like here. And in the remote host area, you have to write in your username @atal.academy. Just that much. Okay. In the remote host area, you have to write your username on the top right corner. You will see atal.academy. On session, another window will appear where again on the left corner, top left corner, there would be SSH. Click on that. Like here. Okay, now once you are into this thing, put in your password and you will be presented with a shell. I'm doing mine. Please don't follow what I'm doing right now because I'm on a Linux machine. I'm logging into the remote server using my method. So if you are using Linux, then you will be doing this thing. Okay, now once you are into this thing, put in your password and you will be presented with a shell. I'm doing mine. Please don't follow. Okay, once you log into it, it will greet you with a message giving a brief description about what kind of server it is, what kind of processor it is having, and what kind of operating system is it having. So go through it if you like to, and at times this information could be very handy so that you can know your limitation, what you can do with it. And ultimately you will be prompted with your interactive prompt, and here you can type in the commands. First I will give you some time so that you can try out the commands that Mr. Ramanus told you earlier in the morning, or so you can go through those commands, go through the video again, and I'm sharing all the slides that he gave, so that at times this information could be very handy so that you can know your limitation, what you can do with it. And ultimately you will be prompted with your interactive. Okay, Mr. Kuldeep, please, you are saying that it is showing access denied. Please recheck your username password, because if you were able to log into the ATAL FDP portal, then these are the same username password. You should be able to log into it. Please check whether instead of I or L, O or 0 you have. And even after checking, if you are not able to log in, then please let me know. I will see to it. So now I'm sharing all those slides that Mr. Ramanuj today presented in his lectures, so that you are saying that it is showing access denied. You can try out those commands, and once you are familiar with this command prompt and this shell, then I will take you further on some very interesting exercises, and you will know why is it good to work with shell that you cannot do with the graphical user interface. Even after checking, if you are not able to log in, then please let me know. I will see to it. So now I'm sharing all those slides that Mr. Ramanuj today presented in his lectures, so that you are saying that it is showing access denied. You can try out those commands, and once you are familiar with this command prompt and this shell, then I will take you further on some very interesting exercises, and you will know why is it good to work with shell that you cannot do with the graphical user interface. Even after checking, if you are not able to log in, then please let me know. I will see to it. So now I'm sharing all those slides that Mr. Ramanuj. Okay, sorry. I have to create a Google Drive first. You can try out those
Sir,
and once you are familiar with this command prompt, then I will share it through Google Drive.
sir, once we have downloaded with Mobix term, sorry for disturbing, sir. Can you repeat after downloading Mobix term what to do?
Okay,
I have selected session.
I have to create a Google Drive first.
Sir,
Then I will share it through Google Drive.
sir, once we have downloaded with Mobix term, sorry for disturbing, sir. Can you repeat after downloading Mobix term what to do?
Okay,
I have selected session.
I have to create a Google Drive first. Then I will share it through Google Drive.
Sir, once we have downloaded with Mobix term,
Okay, so now I'm sharing the link in the Google Meet. Here it goes.
can you repeat after downloading Mobix term what to do? I have selected session.
Okay, so now I'm sharing the link in the Google Meet. Here it goes. So now I have shared. Okay, after downloading MOBA extern, you have to install it. And once you have installed it, run it. It's a standalone package, so you have to double click on the MOBA extern personnel 20.3.exe if you have downloaded the latest version. Once you double click on it, you will be presented with that window that I showed you earlier. So now I have shared. Okay, after downloading. So some people have asked for repeating what to do after installing MOBA extern. So it's a standalone package. You have to click on this session. You have to double click on the MOBA extern personnel 20.3.exe if you have downloaded the latest version. Once you double click on it, you have to click on this session. Once you click on the session, you will be presented with another window. Okay, this another window is not visible on OBS Studio. So after downloading, so some people have asked for repeating what to do after installing MOBA extern. So it's a standalone package. You have to click on this session. You have to double click on the MOBA extern personnel 20.3.exe if you have downloaded the latest version. Once you double click on it, you have to click on this session. Okay, so after that you will be presented. Once you click on that session, you will be presented with this window. You will be presented with another window. Okay, this another window is not visible on OBS Studio. And here you have to click on SSH. Once you click on SSH, come to this remote host, type in your username, whatever has been provided to you, @atal.academy. Don't touch anything else, just press OK. And you will be presented with this screen. You will be presented with this window. And here you have to click on SSH. So once you put in your username and password, you will be presented with something like, once you click on SSH, come to this remote host, type in your username, whatever has been provided to you, @atal.academy. Don't touch anything else, just press OK. Initially, you may have some problem with it, but just ask me in case I need to repeat it. Once you're through this, everything else is cakewalk. The first step is the difficult one. And once you are into it, you can try all those commands that Mr. Ramanuj shared today with you. And Kuldeep sir, can you share your username that we have provided you? So, uh, I will ask Raj Shree ma'am to give you the username. Okay, all those who are not able to log in because of your username password mismatch, Rashmi madam is sending you on this WhatsApp. She will be personally messaging you. Please contact her on the WhatsApp number so that she can respond to you. And don't worry, these account details will be with you for this entire month. You can use it to your satisfaction. Probably it will be with you for the entire year. So if you want to have some shell access from your Windows machine, you can log into it. You can show it to your students on whatever you want to do with it. It will remain with you for the entire year, at least for entire year. We are planning to have it for even longer. So it's good if you have this username password with you. So if there's anyone else who cannot log into his system because of username password mismatch, it looks like a lot many people are not able to log in. Uh, uh, and I wonder if you have ever logged on to the FDP portal, because if you were able to log into it, it's the same username password and the same account making process. There shouldn't be any mismatch. Probably you should double check your internet connectivity in that. But since you are accessing us, so that won't be an issue. Hmm. Okay. नहीं नहीं is KULDIP. Hmm? Server name? Server name उसके login करने के लिए it's atal.academy. वो mat dot Kuldeep. Okay, Kuldeep sir, I am messaging you. I have changed your password. So, uh, वो कुलदीप सर का कर दो मुझे मैसेज डीएम करके देना तो मैं उनको मैसेज कर दूँ हाँ पासवर्ड यूज़र नेम उनका योर यूज़र नेम इज सेम मिस्टर कुलदीप बट वी हैव चेंज योर पासवर्ड कुलदीप जी का कहाँ नहीं क्रिएट किया Mr. Kuldeep, I have sent you your username. Your username remains same. I have sent you your password. And okay, Mr. Vivek Kumar. इनका यूज़र नेम क्या है वो हम विवेक कुमार जी को यूजर नेम बताएं। एम हम्म हम्म। So now please try some very simple commands on a Linux system. First one would be to check who am I. Sorry. So once you give this command, it will tell you who you are on this system. Not so it's telling you your username is Ravi. So you are Ravi for this system. And in your case, it would be whatever username you have. So give another command as directly. One of them is the directory listing, that is ls. That will return you nothing because so far in your directory there's no file. It's very important to understand this concept in Unix where everything is a file, even devices are represented as files. So we will come to that. I mean, it may be out of the context here. We are not talking about the same files, but in Unix has a philosophy as an operating system. Unix and its derivatives, Linux, BSD systems, NetBSD, FreeBSD, and even Android, they have a very good philosophy of how to deal with systems and how to work efficiently in a system. So go through this Linux philosophy that is very useful for following in general life also. And one of them is do one thing and do it well. If you fail, fail gracefully so that other can know that where you have failed and learn from it. So there are similarly there are various other philosophies that define or that drive the software development process on a Unix system. So it's better to familiarize yourself with that philosophy because that is not good only for for working with Unix systems, but in general, that would be very helpful for you if you are into the field of programming and things like that. So you can now search the internet. You can get various commands over there. You can try them. Remember your limitations. You are a normal user, not a super user here, or neither have the privilege of being super user. Just let me see if I have done that or not. But even if you are, please don't try anything nasty because okay, looks like you have been provided with these kind of access, but please refrain from doing that. Otherwise, we will have to do a lot of maintenance work and practicals would. Uh, if you're familiar with these systems, it's perfectly okay. You can try nasty things. That will give you some thrill. But for other people who have just joined and who are trying to keep pace with what we are trying to make them learn, they will be frustrated in their attempt. Please don't do that in all good faith. We wanted to give you as much access which is required for carrying out practical and exploring new things. And as I told you earlier, one of them would be how to grant access, how to connect hardware, additional hardware to very small systems like Raspberry. So the entire idea is that you will have this small Raspberry Pi computer, and to it you will connect 10 or 15 smaller Arduino or ESP32 or ESP8266. Nowadays ESP8266 is much cheaper than Arduino board, so you can connect those to it and provide the access to students over the internet so that they can log into your Raspberry Pi system and access the hardware. Someone will have to set up the circuit that they want to try out. And in the evening session, I remember I was listening, someone was asking for, is there a good simulator for Raspberry Pi systems? And yes, there is a system, but it's not very comprehensive. And the kind of components that you can use with that simulator is very limited, probably only an LED. So those who want to try it today night or early in tomorrow morning, they can try it out. It's this simulator is developed by Microsoft and is available on the Azure cloud. So just type in Microsoft Azure and Raspberry Pi simulator, and you will be presented with a result in the first or two searches, the such results. So check in, Mr. Muli, can you please check in your uh, server ID? Please message me what kind of login command you are putting in. Just send me what you are trying to type in that remote server field so that we can see that you are not making any mistake, because I changed your password twice, and it's highly improbable that something can go wrong because industry has been using this for now 60, 70 years. So that's why I said it's quite fail-proof system now. Very reliable. SSH is quite reliable. Okay, Vivek sir has been able to log in. Good. And Tirugyan Sambandhan sir, you have typed in yes. I don't know what that means, but it's something positive. Good to know that. Okay, Bala Subramanian sir, you are trying to use Android phone to log into it. That's great. You have to first install some kind of SSH app. I think there's one by the name of Lime SSH or Lemon SSH, something like that. That's a good one. But I highly recommend that you use a laptop or a desktop computer for that. I have never been very comfortable with using mobile platforms for doing something on the computer. A single typo may ruin your system. So I avoid that. So okay. Kavitha. So Murli sir, please check your username first. Is it Murali? And okay. MURALI है MURALI. कर रहा है काम, कैसे नहीं कर रहा है? तुमने क्या कर रही है? आपको नहीं लॉग इन करना है। पासवर्ड चेंज करके दे तो दिया। हाँ is so Murli sir, please follow the instructions that I gave for logging into the system. What are you using? Is it have you installed the MobaX term, and can you please send the screenshot where it is saying that your login is not? Please send that screenshot on the FDP portal. कहाँ पे नहीं login कर? Sir, this is not the username password for web portal. So this is not username password for web portal. This is to log in to the remote system using secure shell. That's why we asked you to install MobaX term. Okay, it looks like some people are trying to log into the FDP portal using this username password. Please remember, this is not to log in for the web portal. This is to log into the remote machine using secure shell. So please don't confuse between these two. The username and password by default are same, but the method of access is different. Okay, so it looks like most of the people are now on the same page. They have logged into the system. They are trying out the commands that Ramandu sir told in the morning. And now we will see some finer nuances of Unix shell. And to refresh upon, just remember uh, whenever a process starts, that means that whenever you give a command, there are three processes associated with it. One is the standard input, one is the standard output, and one is a standard error. So I don't know if I'm going in the right direction, but for now you have to remember these three things, and you know what is the standard input, you know what is standard output. We will come to what is standard error in a little while later. But for now, remember input and output. You input to your system using your console, and system outputs it back through your screen or through any other peripheral devices attached to it. So in concept, you have to remember this input and output, and this very basic idea that input and output can be connected, they could be piped, and they could be redirected. So today we will see how we can do that. I won't push you through this because for some people who have not used shell earlier, for them it could be very daunting. But others, those who have done it, for them it's like a click. So somewhere we have to balance that thing. So just a minute. I will be back in a second. Okay, so I'm using my shell, and you can try out these commands that I'm trying out, and hopefully you will get through it. So the first thing is we will output something to the shell, and one of the commands that we will be using for it is echo. So say, like you say, echo so this is echoed back to you. Whatever you typed with this command echo, this has been echoed back to you. So in simpler terms, it could mean whatever you inputted, you got it back as an output. So this is echo. Now let's see the concept of redirection. So we are echoing and redirecting that to, for the redirection we use this symbol. Oh, I'm sorry, another window is going on. I'm sorry, you can't see. Okay, now you will be able to see. Sorry, I'm very sorry, I was using another terminal. So the command you have to give in echo double quotes, within double quotes you are typing hello, and it's echoing back it to you, echo hello. Now we are using same command, but this time we don't want it to echo back to us, and redirecting that input to a file called as whatever name we want to give it is good. Okay, we give it name good.txt. So we entered this command echo, within double quotes we typed hello, then this redirection operator, and then good.txt. So redirection operator is nothing but the greater than sign. And now we again give this command ls, and you will see now in your directory you have one more file. Earlier it was empty, but now you have good.txt in it. And if you see the content of this good.txt, the content it's having is hello. So this is same thing that we entered, but instead of getting it back through the console, echoing it, we are redirecting it to another file. These concept of redirection, okay. Another thing is that redirection, double redirection operator, and see what happens. Echo is typed in twice. So when you add or overload that operator, like you do in C program, so what actually happens is that it appends to the existing file rather than overwriting it. However, if you are using simply this redirection operator, and this time we will type in something else other than this hello, we type in great. Now this command would have overwritten everything else that was existing in the file. So this redirection operator, so why I told you this is because when you are using these redirection operators, pipes and things like these are very tiny bit of code. Just one letter, one more letter will mean something else, one letter less will mean something else, and you can very easily corrupt your system if you write something wrong. So pay attention to while you are using these powerful shell commands. These are very basic beginner shell commands, but these are very powerful in their nature. And here you can see the difference, that if you use the redirection operator only once, it overwrites the entire file. However, if we overload that redirection operator, then it only appends to the existing file, not overwrites it. So these are the kind of things that you have to keep in mind while using shell. Okay. Okay. Once you're done with it, once you practice it on your own, I'm giving you 5 minutes. You try it, various combination permutations, try whatever you want to do, and then 5 minutes I will continue again. So, madam just informed me that tomorrow's session will begin at 11 o'clock, and the first session would be taken by Mr. Ramanuj, I think, if he's available, but we are still not very sure about it. And if that doesn't happen, we will continue with this practical session throughout in the night. If you have any problem in logging in, please message us. We will try to rectify that problem. And we want everyone to log into this system so that we can build upon our foundation and do something which is meaningful. Because what I'm telling you right now, for a computer sciences scholar, these are very basic things, but we are all not on an equal platform. So in such interdisciplinary subjects, it's necessary that we come to a common ground first and then proceed ahead so that we can learn from each other's experiences. And throughout today night, if you have any problem in logging into the shell, or those who are using Linux systems, they would be super cool with it. They already know all this stuff. It's a great system for learning. I appreciate all those people who are using Linux. And however, if you are using Windows, which is primarily a consumer operating system, it's not meant for programming and other things. It's just to give you easily usable interface. So to complete your day-to-day work. So in that case, you have to install MobaXterm, and we are ready to help you out with that too. Looks like a lot many people have already done it. They have logged into it, and I can see from the system logs that you are making good use of it. Some 35 people are right now using it. Good. So if there's something that you want to know or you want us to cover in the forthcoming sessions, you can write down to us. You can message us on the WhatsApp or on this ATAL FDP, or whatever means you have. You can mail us. So if you want to include something that you were expecting, we can do that. we do have contacts within India and abroad too. So if some kind of expertise is needed, however, there should be a common consensus for that. It's not like you want to know something about machine learning, very specific topic, and we can rope in some guy from NVIDIA to help you out in that. But that won't be of use to everyone else. However, if you have any such thing, do let us know. We can put you in contact with that person. That can be arranged. But if you are having some general expectation that you feel would be beneficial for others also, not only for you, so let us know. We will try to include it. And if you have some idea to implement in the IoT field, we can help you with that too. Like yesterday, someone from Integral University was asking about that energy efficiency modeling and all those things. So that is basically a question of data modeling and system modeling rather than IoT alone. IoT can help you in gathering data, but that basically was a question of system modeling and data modeling. So another question was related to agriculture, disease prediction. So again, you have to follow a particular model of prediction. So IoT can help you in getting that data, something, but what kind of disease it is, what is its prediction model, that is not within the scope of this FDP. We would be very happy to help you out in that scenario, but for the time being, bear with us. We are not going to cover that thing in our FDP. Okay, with that, I think it's already quite late in the evening, and practical sessions, please do it at your own pace. Don't rush through it. And well, someone is asking whatever the file they are creating using this shell terminal, where is this file being stored? It's not on your local machine, sir. It's on the remote machine. That's why I said you are right now working on a remote server located in Mumbai, I think. Yes, it's in Mumbai. So it's a $20 Linode machine, and we have got this domain name from Namecheap. We will tell you the entire process of if you want to establish a similar system. We will share with you that entire system, and in the next part of this practical exercise, our aim is to establish a system where your student can log into the server and use the hardware which is in your laboratory, not on the server itself. The actual hardware would be in your laboratory or at your home itself. You might be having a Raspberry Pi or a few other boards. So if there's one or few students who are interested in accessing hardware, but because of this pandemic situation, they are not able to come to the laboratory. As a teacher, if you want to help them out, you can do that. You can provide them access to the hardware. And if they ask you, you can set up the circuit for them the way they want. And for that, you have to follow minimal standards, like you have to be on the same page for sharing circuit schema and things like that. Fritzkit is a good platform for that. I mean, there are several other things, but that is what you can do. And that is what our aim is, to provide a remote laboratory system or virtual laboratory system where a student can interact with real hardware over the internet. So that was basically the aim of conducting this FTP. So please go through the exercises, download stuff from internet, browse through them, try new commands, make yourself familiar with it, because whatever command I have been telling you, they are, they are very beginner level commands. So it's not that you need someone who is having experience to make you through it. Try it at your own pace. Make yourself familiar and comfortable with it. And once we are on same page, we will proceed ahead in our next session. Please do let us know if you want something else from this FDP. Future course of action would be like tomorrow we will be concluding our Raspberry Pi sessions. So after that, you will be able to log into the Raspberry Pi and use Python. So we will provide you remote access to Raspberry Pythons, which we are having with us. Then there are some, if you are interested in establishing such a virtual laboratory, there are some pieces of hardware equipment that are not generally available in the market. If you will search on Amazon, either they are not available or the alternatives are very pricey. So we will let you know what are the cheaper alternatives for that. And believe me, if you want to set up a 10 student virtual laboratory, this will not cost you more than 7,550 rupees. That's all that you will have to bear. Of course, some of it would be the running cost that you will have to bear from month to month or on a yearly basis. But approximately it's 7,550 rupees for a 10. I won't say 10. It's actually 14 bench virtual laboratory where student would be accessing real hardware over the internet. So you can establish that. We will help you through it. But for that, the road goes through this shell. You have to learn this shell first. So with that, I'm now logging off. Have a good remaining day, and we will meet tomorrow. So on a final note, I am taking some questions. If you over the so it looks like no one is having any questions. So we wind up this today's session, and we will meet tomorrow at 11. And in case you are trying it late in the evening, if you have any question, do ask us on the ATAL FDP platform. We will be very happy to respond to you. Or drop in your suggestions.